Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is okay today. So, today is my lesson 10, and my topic for today is about understanding and development of large scale assessment. At the end of this module, you are expected to identify terms related to the development of large scale assessment. You'll be able to analyze basic concepts and principles and procedures in the development of large scale assessment. Also, you'll be able to examine the uses of large scale assessment and its implementation. According to Joel Adamos and Estefania de Guzman, educational system that continuously seek ways and that this means to have an improvement in a student achievement. Through assessment, the practice of large-scale student assessment has long been in place to push schools and teachers to double their efforts to raise the quality of instruction in their locale, soliciting stakeholders' support, and receiving substantive government incentives. The said move was initiated by educational managers and administrators. So large-scale assessment consists of system-wide assessment, certification testing, large annual assessment, and standardized testing. Implementation of the said assessment is done through sample of population approaches. The sample approach here, um, assessment of selected students within the target range. Population approach, assessment of all students within the target range in participating country. System-wide assessment indicates the participation at all schools as part of system. Standardized testing indicates the consistent condition and manner in the scoring, administration, and interpretation of assessment tools. Certification testing, it indicates a distinct purpose of assessment. Large-scale assessment, annual assessment, it indicates the frequency of scheduled school assessment. Underlying concepts of large-scale assessment and criterion-based assessment. The LSA stands for large scale assessment, and CBA, criterion based assessment, can be both designed and utilized for criterion reference assessment and norm reference assessment. Students' overall standing in class is known based on students' test scores, which is reported as part of their grades. Likewise, large-scale assessment utilizes this norm-referenced approach in ranking schools within districts, divisions, or regions in a certain country using some descriptive statistics. In knowing to what extent students have mastered the expected body of knowledge and competencies being assessed, both CBA and LSA are similarly interested. So, number two underlying concepts is the tool's content are both aligned to the curriculum and specific learning outcomes, with the assessment of learning as the chief purpose of students' assessment, the intended learning outcomes within the context of subject matter areas in the school prescribed curriculum are the main source of test content. Number three of underlying concepts of LSA and CBA, teachers' involvement in the preparation of the assessment tools. Although large-scale assessment involves a greater number of teachers in the development process, both Assessment levels rely heavily on the teachers who are experienced in selecting the instructional outcomes to be tested. More than any other stakeholders, the teachers need to agree the pertinent learning outcomes to be assessed. Together with the other curriculum experts, test content planning takes a formal convention of teachers across various parts of the country. Classroom teachers in classroom-based assessment may seek collegial advice of peers to determine summative test content that may be administered to one class or classes of the same grade level. Number four of underlying concepts of large-scale assessment and classroom-based assessment. Selected response. Format like binary choice and multiple choice items are commonly utilized. The said types of tests lend themselves efficiently to objective scoring, reviewing, and revising items through item analysis, and establishing the test's psychometric integrity. Machine is used in scoring the large-scale assessment specifically for multiple choice items so as to facilitate fast interpretation and release of results. Number five, the focus of assessment is more on cognitive instructional outcomes. Both large-scale assessment and classroom-based assessment often measure the said learning outcomes, which lend themselves to testing formats like constructed response and selected response types. Less frequently used for this. Uses of large-scale assessment. Number one, some LSA programs utilize high-stake testing, which defines entry of non-entry students to a desired advanced level. Grade level is standardized achievement test, which administered at major transition. To certify students' readiness for college level, the examination is given by the secondary school before graduation. The passing a standardized examination is required for admission for state colleges and universities in Asia. In most universities in the US, passing the entrance examination is required. Second language proficiency certification required by many higher education institutions from non-English applicants. Number two, of uses of large-scale assessment for monitoring and judging progress. As a barometer of how students are performing along with desired competencies in different subjects areas at different levels across time, many countries utilize national examination. To improve students' program, large-scale assessment is also triggered by policies initiating standards-based reforms in education. There are standardized examinations developed at the international scene to monitor changes in educational achievement in basic school over time. Number three, for screening and diagnostic purposes. These are the value added of large-scale assessment. Number one, an evaluation of an educational program effectiveness implemented in school. Information on how school and students are performing. Through important research and education, mining of large-scale assessment processes and product is done. Development process for large-scale assessment test. Both tests need a framework for specifying the test purpose. What are to be measured? Whom the test will be administered, the length of test, what test format to use, or etc. A table of specification or a test blueprint is needed to prepare the two assessments that specify the content, knowledge, and skills to be covered and the number of items to be prepared for each learning outcome. ensure the items measure intended outcomes, the plausibility of the distractors, non-ambiguity of the problem, the correctness of the keyed option, there is a need to review both test items. So these are the key steps in large scale development, scale test development. Defining objectives. Okay, so defining objectives, the questions are the following. Who will have the test and for what purpose? What should areas of knowledge or skills be tested? So the teachers, professionals, or licensing board identify a need to measure specific knowledge of, of skills. So once objectives are determined, test developers ask the following questions. So this one, organizing item development. These committees usually consist of teachers and or other appointed professionals with the sponsoring of agencies guidance. Writing and reviewing questions. It has only one correct answer among the given option provided on the test, and there is conformity to style rules utilized throughout the test. Continuation for the key steps in large-scale test development. Defining the objectives. Organizing development committees. Writing and reviewing questions. The pretest. So often writing and reviewing the test questions with a sample group similar to the population to be tested. The said tests are pretested. Okay, so the detecting and removing unfair questions. So after this one is after the conduct of pretest. Assembling the test. Test assembled is reviewed by other committee and staff members, specialists, and sometimes other outside experts. Making sure that the test questions are functioning properly. After administering the test, statisticians perform results analysis to find out if the test is working or as intended. So the question is the test valid or is the test reliable? Validity establishment of a test. First is the content validity. Content validity refers to the degree to which the content of a test is representative of the domain it is intended to cover. Evidence should be present to support that the test measure what is intended to measure so as to use a test to describe achievement. A specific content or domain statement is required in evaluating large-scale assessment. This comes in the form of content standards and performance standards, as well as test specification. Through this, what can be covered on an assessment is outlined. Next is criterion-related validity. There are two kinds of criterion-related validity, and these are the following: concurrent validity and predictive validity. Concurrent is a significant correlation between the test scores and another related test administered almost at the same time frame. And the former similarly measures what the other external test is measuring. While the predictive validity, it has a similarity to concurrent validity in terms of procedure, except that the data which are needed for an external measure is gathered after a considerable period of time after administering the new test. The new test serve as the predictor variable, while the external measures serve as the criterion variable. Criterion-related validity, empirical examination of the psychological construct hypothetically assumed to be measured by the test is involved in the construct validity. By doing test item factor analysis to bring about what defines the overall construct. Construct validity is established as shown by the resultant factors. Construct validity identifies if the test measures a unitary construct of it is a multi-dimensional construct. Different types of test reliability. Test, retest, reliability. With two test sessions, the same test is given twice with a time interval not exceeding 6 months. Alternate form reliability. Two comparable test versions are administered um, to the same individuals. It can be determined immediately done and one after the other or delayed by the exceeding 6 months. Continuation of different types of validity. Split half reliability. This type of reliability is workable with only a single administration. So this type of reliability divides the test into two halves using the odd even split. Enter-rater reliability, the degree to which different raters or judges agree in their assessment is assessed by enter-rater reliability to avoid doubts in scoring test procedure with non-objective items. This is quite useful. Hmm. Item consistency. It looks at the internal consistency of responses to all items. There will be inter-item consistency in the task taker responses, how the individuals perform each item will be required in the said procedure. Thank you. So that's my lesson 4. It's Friday. This is my last lesson. I hope everyone learned something from my first lesson down to the 10th lesson. I thank you everyone for giving time to listen. I thank you for giving time to write it on. Thank you for everything. Be safe, everyone. Bye.